Hi, let's talk today on Agile. What is Agile? What makes it so popular today in software development lifecycle industry? How does it benefit us? And what is the key uses for the same which is making it incorporated into the organization lifecycle itself at such a fast pace? Agile is a methodology. As simple as that is the way to develop software. Software development, of course, has come a long way since the erstwhile days of waterfall methodologies. So those were the days where everything was sequential, in a phased manner, and one thing used to finish the task and hand it over to the next phase, and then the work used to continue. Likely, this ran into rough weather, which means it was not really too cost effective, or perhaps the risk of entertaining waterfall methodology to develop softwares probably ran into rough weathers, which was not acceptable to the organizations. And there came Agile methodology a few years back. Agile is a methodology in which we use certain artifacts, certain way of working in a very collaborative and incremental approach. So there are two key things which differentiate Agile from waterfall. One is the intense collaboration which we have in Agile, which is not really seen in waterfall. And the second is the way we work based on certain protocols, certain norms, and certain acceptable nomenclatures with which the entire team is very familiar. There's another side of the story. In Agile teams, most of the people are cross-trained and cross-functional, which means they have the skill to fill in the shoes of any other skill which might be missing or lost in action for some reason. So coming back to Agile, being a methodology, it has various techniques to be done. Some of the most famous techniques is called Scrum. So Scrum is a technique within a larger umbrella of Agile methodologies, the other being maybe Kanban, etc. Why organizations are taking to Agile? And what is the key reasons which makes it so popular? One of the key reasons is the speed to market. It's simply fast. It's much faster to the tune of almost 30% as compared to the same functionality which is developed in waterfall methods. It's cost effective, again to the tune of an average 20 to 30%. It's very collaborative, which means a deep mind share and thought provocation happens in the Agile way of working, which makes the development much more closer to the actual business requirement it came from. So in a way, business is more satisfied because they find the developments on the system side, on the business process side, etc., in the similar fashion in which they expressed it to the business analyst in the beginning. So this means Agile is a very significantly important instrument in the direction of change management as well. Because eventually change management is also all about acclimatizing the user from the prior state into the new transformed state so that he or she could feel very acclimatized and accustomed and familiar, and hence the change state of affairs should also be as successful. And Agile is performing a very useful function in this. Today, hundreds of organizations across the globe have taken to the Agile way of working. This meant also, of course, that the erstwhile teams had to transform themselves into the Agile way of working. They had to incorporate those tricks and techniques in order to do the software development now in a new formed way. It also means that Agile ensures that the employees are more engaged, and which is one of the key things why it's so significantly important in order to mitigate all the risks which come from change management. So the user, either in form of user story or via product manager, are facilitated to come into the Agile discussions in which they can bring all the flights of fancy in terms of requirements which are openly discussed within the team, and then a conclusion is arrived at. These things are flashed and published all over the place, which means you can see the things that you are doing. You can see which way it has to progress further. Since that is all published all over the place, team can look at it sequentially again and again, and then that is what leads to the inception of new, better ideas within themselves, which are again collaboratively discussed and a new solution is arrived at. So this kind of an incremental, step-by-step kind of a stage which leads to a better development of functionality is also called Agile. And needless to say, it helps to garner the stakeholder satisfaction way better than we have ever done before in waterfall methodologies. And the best thing here is that the amount of risk is minimal, which means in waterfall methodologies, if a wrong requirement is picked up, there's no way it's going to look back throughout the software development life cycle till the time it is tested and deployed. And then we get to understand, oops, that's not what the user wanted. But in the Agile way, thanks to a very collaborative stance which is taken between business and IT, and the thorough engagement which happens, we do not run into the risk of carrying an incorrect requirement, which is probably true in the case of waterfall. So this itself is one of the big reasons why the contemporary thought process is more aligned to Agile.